With these can-do videos, you'll see real-life situations where you have to introduce yourself, talk about your family, or give your contact information. So, by the end, you can do them yourself in Italian. This video is a small portion of our can-do course. To get the full course, including translations, grammar tools, and assessment tests, click the link in the description.
Welcome to Can Do Italian by ItalianPod101.com.
Ciao a tutti, sono Felice Angelini. Hi everyone, I'm Felice Angelini. In this lesson, you learn how to ask about someone's well-being.
This is Mark Lee, and he's in the office break room. He greets Matteo Marino, a colleague, and asks, "How are you?"
Come stai?
Listen to the conversation and focus on the question. Ready?
Come stai?
Sto bene, grazie.
Once more with the English translation.
Come stai?
How are you?
Sto bene, grazie.
I'm well, thank you.
Wondering how you can master these conversations even faster? Here's how. 1. Read along. You get the lesson conversation and translations inside our dialogue tool so that you see each word as you hear it and understand it all. 2. Practice speaking. By shadowing what you hear, you can also record and compare yourself with native speakers with our voice recording tools. And 3. Take our assessment tests and see how much you remember. These tools are part of our Can-Do course. Just click the link in the description to get them.
Let's take a closer look at the conversation.
First, do you remember how Mark asks, "How are you?"
Come stai?
First is,
Come?
how?
Come? Come?
Next is,
Stai?
you are.
Stai? Stai?
Note,
Stai?
is a shortened form of
Tu stai?
you are. In Italian,
Tu?
you is usually omitted as it's understood from context.
Stai?
Is from the verb
Stare?
meaning to be.
Stare?
Altogether, it's
Come stai?
how are you?
Come stai?
Note the rising intonation to mark that it's a question.
Come stai?
Let's take a closer look at the response.
Do you remember how Matteo says, "I'm well, thank you"?
Sto bene, grazie.
I'm well, thank you.
Sto bene, grazie.
First is,
Sto.
I am.
Sto. Sto.
Note,
Sto.
is a shortened form of
Io sto.
I am. In Italian,
Io.
I is often omitted when it's understood.
Sto.
Is from the verb
Stare.
meaning to be in this context.
Stare.
Next is,
Bene.
well.
Bene. Bene.
Together, it's
Sto bene.
I'm well.
Sto bene.
Note,
Sto bene.
may translate as I'm well, I'm fine, I'm good, I'm okay, etc. But we'll use I'm well for this lesson. Next is
Grazie.
meaning thank you.
Grazie. Grazie.
Altogether, it's
Sto bene, grazie.
I'm well, thank you.
Sto bene, grazie.
Note the question
Come stai?
is for informal situations. For formal situations, simply replace
Stai.
with
Sta.
the formal form of you are.
Come sta?
How are you? For formal situations.
Come sta?
Remember this variation. You'll see it again later.
In Italian, there are two verbs that translate as to be: stare and essere. When talking about well-being, use stare. When responding to come stai? How are you? Always use the verb stare, as in sto bene. I'm fine.
Let's look at some more examples. Listen and repeat, or speak along with the native speakers.
Come stai?
Sto bene, grazie.
Come stai?
Sto bene, grazie. Come stai?
Sto abbastanza bene, grazie.
Come stai?
Sto abbastanza bene, grazie. Come sta?
Sto bene, grazie.
Come sta?
Sto bene, grazie.
Come stai?
Sto benissimo, grazie.
Come stai?
Sto benissimo, grazie.
Come stai?
Bene, e tu?
Come stai?
Bene, e tu? Did you notice how I added the phrase e tu?
Wondering how you can master these conversations even faster? Here's how. 1. Read along. You get the lesson conversation and translations inside our dialogue tool so that you see each word as you hear it and understand it all. 2. Practice speaking. By shadowing what you hear, you can also record and compare yourself with native speakers with our voice recording tools. And 3. Take our assessment tests and see how much you remember. These tools are part of our Can-Do course. Just click the link in the description to get them.
Bene, e tu?
I'm well. And you? First is
Bene.
well.
Bene.
Here
Bene.
is the shortened form of
Sto bene.
I'm well. Next is
E tu?
and you?
E tu?
First is
E.
and.
E. E.
Next is
Tu.
an informal word meaning you.
Tu. Tu.
Together, it's
E tu?
meaning and you?
E tu?
You can use this phrase to reciprocate the question when someone asks you about your well-being. For example, if someone says,
Come stai?
you can respond with,
Bene. E tu?
first respond to the question, then inquire about the other person's well-being with,
E tu?
and you? Note, as
Tu.
you is informal, this expression is appropriate for informal situations. Remember this pattern.
Bene. E tu?
You'll see it again later. Let's review the key vocabulary.
Abbastanza bene.
Pretty good.
Abbastanza bene. Abbastanza bene. Benissimo.
Great.
Benissimo. Benissimo.
Let's review. Respond to the prompts by speaking aloud. Then repeat after me, focusing on pronunciation. Ready? Do you remember how to say how? Come? Come? And how Mark Lee asks, how are you?
Come stai?
Come stai? Do you remember how to say well? Bene. Bene. And how to say I'm well? Sto bene. Sto bene. Do you remember how to say thank you? Grazie. Grazie. Do you remember how Matteo says, I'm well, thank you?
Sto bene, grazie.
Sto bene, grazie. Do you remember how to say, and you? E tu? E tu? And how to say, pretty good. Abbastanza bene. Abbastanza bene.
Let's practice. Imagine you're Matteo, Mark's colleague. Ask how Mark is doing using informal Italian. Ready?
Come stai?
Sto abbastanza bene, grazie.
Listen again and repeat.
Come stai? Come stai?
Let's try another. Imagine you're Karen's teacher, Rosa Romano, and you're starting class. Ask about Karen's well-being using formal Italian. Ready?
Come sta?
Sto bene, grazie.
Listen again and repeat.
Come sta? Come sta?
Let's try one more. Imagine you're Sasha and you meet your friend at school. Respond by saying, well, and you? Ready?
Come stai?
Bene. E tu?
Listen again and repeat.
Bene. E tu? Bene. E tu?
This is the end of this lesson.
Now, here's what you can do to cement this conversation in your head. Review the conversation with our dialogue tool and lesson transcripts. Study the key words and phrases with our spaced repetition flashcards. Review the key grammar and cultural tips inside the lesson notes. And test yourself with our assessment tests. So click the link in the description right now and sign up for your free lifetime account to access our Can-Do course.
Now you know how to ask about well-being in Italian. That's all there is to it. Keep practicing and move on to the next lesson.